Boys Dynasty Podcast, the greatest podcast that you didn't want or ask for. And now introducing your host, Jake the Gluten-Free Harris and Peter Cheater Pigoo Hot Sizzle O'Donnell.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men who act like children of all ages, welcome into the My Play. It's your boy, Jake, the Gluten-Free Harris, and I am still without the co-host of Peter Cheater Pigoo Hot Sizzle O'Donnell, and no, I have not had time to fix that intro. What up, fam? Welcome into the State of the League address. I know it has been hard out there. I've left you guys high and dry. That's my bad. I'm sorry about it. We are going to be getting into the goings-on of the league, but before we do, not gonna lie, forgot that the window next to me is open, and I'm a little self-conscious about doing this lame podcast in front of the entire neighborhood. So I'm gonna go close that, enjoy the pictures of fish for a brief moment. It's okay. We're back. All right. So, the state of the league. Where is the league right now? So, we are about halfway through the season. It's a 17-game season, but the fantasy season is only 16 games long, and we just finished week 8. I thought it fitting to bring to you the state of the league address. All right. So, in first place, we have Tom, the Iceman, the Dark Sorcerer himself, Sorrel. Alrighty, Tom, 6-2. Honestly, this is a bit of a surprise for me. I liked Tom's team, but I did not think it was going to be this freaking good. Now, Tom has been hit hard by the injury bug, and I think if we're going to break down Tom's team, we have to look at some notable players and picks that he has made. One of the picks that he made that I've absolutely loved was Saquon Barkley. I'm trying to find what round he got Saquon in. Unfortunately, the app on the computer is garbage, but the app on the phone is much better. I believe it was like a 5th or 6th round pick. Some other notable standouts for Tom that have been paying off. Lamar Jackson was on Fuego earlier in the season. Has definitely cooled off as of late, but hasn't been absolutely murdering him by any means. Josh Jacobs, another massive pick that's turned out great. And I think we really look at Amon-Ra St. Brown. I thought it was a reach. I was wrong. He could have been drafted way earlier and still been a value. All right, where was it? The draft history. There it is. All right, so I think he got Saquon, who I believe is like the number 1 or number 2 running back on the season. Let's see. Yeah, Eckler's number 1. So I think Saquon might be number 2 then. Oh, wow, he's dropped to number 4. That is shocking because he hasn't been sucking recently. He got Saquon in the 5th round, 508. Incredible value for a guy who is still young, only 25, about to be on his 2nd contract after this year. It will be interesting to see if they give that running back a lot of money. I love Dynasty for this reason, in that you don't just think about the players this year, but you think about them as a whole. Sorry, I'm looking at my baby monitor right now. The dryer's going, so it's constantly kicking the baby monitor on, and I've got the baby monitor muted, so that in case they, you guys don't have to hear the white noise going shh in the background. One of them's rolling around right now, though, so I gotta check it. All right, looking good. All right. Sorry, guys. Just had to check that. All right. Another huge thing about Tom's team has been his receivers. His receivers have come. Like, he took a couple of swings at receiver. Tyler Lockett, who could have seen that working out as well as it has. Amon-Ra St. Brown, well beyond expectations. Josh Palmer's even been fantastic this year. I really didn't expect this out of him. Tua Tagovailoa, again, I actually did see the Tua breakout coming from a mile away. Again, I don't know if you guys have watched any of my other videos I've been posting on here, mostly just for my own gratification, self-gratification, you know how we do. When you add an elite pass catcher to an offense, it completely changes the dynamic of the offense. Like, when you add Tyreek Hill into the Miami offense, you're not replacing Jalen Waddle with Tyreek Hill, and you're getting a super crappy number 2 receiver, which I think was like Noah Brown or something like that, that like Cowboys wide receiver. I don't know. It was some Devontae Parker maybe was the wide number 2. Whatever. You replace some scrub with Tyreek freaking Hill. Like, that's the actual level of upgrade that you're getting here. And then on top of that, it just unlocks so many other possibilities in your offense and for your scheme. And Tua doesn't have to have an incredibly strong arm. Kurt Warner didn't have an incredibly strong arm. In order to be incredibly efficient, he's got a quick release. He's accurate. Both things that someone like Kurt Warner was. He's got elite playmakers on the outside. Look for them to add some elite talent at running back this year to really showcase that elite offense and make people respect every facet of that game. Now, another thing that I think we have to look at with some of Tom's success has been his depth at running back. I think he's gotten pretty lucky on guys like Devonta Foreman. Also pretty lucky on guys like Corey Davis, Alan Lazard, have both been extremely usable. And honestly, he's really not all that deep at like running back or anything like that. But he hasn't had to be. His guys have stayed healthy. It's not a super fragile build. He's got decent draft capital. He's got a 23 first, second, third, just a 23 first and 3 seconds. But yeah, Tom's in a great spot. If he wants to sell those seconds and his first to push his chips all the way in, he can. He can hang on to some. He's in a great spot. Now, I don't want this to take all day, so I'm going to have to shorten these team recaps up a little bit. Eddie is right on his tail at 6-2. Eddie went with the chips all-in strategy, sold all his picks for guys during the draft he really prioritized. Veterans, did not want any draft picks, didn't want any rookies, really not valuing young guys here, and that's a very legitimate strategy that has worked for a lot of people. Eddie had a rough start, I think 0-2. But since then, Travis Etienne has come into his own. Ramondre Stevenson's come into his own. Darnell Mooney's like not looking so incredibly pathetic. Leonard Fournette, Derrick Henry, both starting to turn it on. Like, he's got elite talent at his skill positions. Kirk Cousins has been very solid. Dak Prescott coming back from injury. His team is looking up. Trevor Lawrence was holding down the fort in the meantime. And honestly, I've not been impressed by Trevor Lawrence's NFL performance. I predicted that he was going to finish bottom 20 in points per game, but he has certainly been going well above that pace. He's currently number 9 overall, but I think that's mostly because he hasn't had any buys or injuries. His points per game have not been awe-inspiring by any means, but he's well above the 20 mark. I don't expect him to... I don't expect Trevor Lawrence to last super long. I see kind of like a Jimmy Garoppolo career arc for Trevor Lawrence, where like he's just going to be okay. He's never going to... He didn't get the playmakers that he needs to develop and continue his progression. He has plateaued, in my opinion. I don't think Travis Etienne has been enough of a pass catcher to kind of extend. In my quarterback development window, you have a two-year window to gain an elite pass catcher in your offense. And if you do not do that by the end of your second year as a starter, you're not going to progress into an elite quarterback. There are a few exceptions, but I'm looking at Travis Etienne's receiving yards. He's nowhere close to being an elite pass catcher. You need something like 40 to 50 yards per game on average to be considered an elite pass catcher. in my quarterback development Waddle, and even that will only extend your window 1 year. That said, they did go out and get Calvin Ridley, so definitely an upgrade. I don't know if Calvin Ridley qualifies as elite. He only has had one breakout season, and his season before the suspension was not inspiring by any means. On the back end of his bench, guys like James Conner, it's not really surprising. James Conner got a 2-year contract with some guaranteed money, and now he's starting to, it hurts. It hurts. What has he been missing with? His shoulder or something like that? His hamstring? I don't even know. But, it's just small ticky-tack injuries. It's not shocking. This happens to guys all the time. Christian McCaffrey got a lot of guaranteed money, and all of a sudden, my hamstring, my shoulder. Ooh, yeah, no, coach, I can't play through this. Once your shoulder becomes worth $20 million, you think twice about kind of gutting it out and playing through those injuries. Some very disappointing vets in OBJ, still not signed to a team. Julio Jones, again, Julio Jones has been kind of doing the guaranteed, he's been doing this his whole career. He's been skipping practices with hamstring injuries. It's not super shocking that in his twilight years, what is he, 33, that he's, missing a lot of time because he's got a bruise on his knee or something like that. He's had a bruise for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 months since week 1. Came back and was a little bit uncomfortable, and then he was like, you know what, I better take another month off. Not super shocking. DK Metcalf has been incredible. The whole Seattle offense has been way better than I anticipated. Cordell Patterson was a big contributor early. He's got some good guys on his bench. Boy, you better stay asleep. I'm telling you. These kids, man. They have been driving me nuts. All right. Next up in the ranks, we have got Jim Mertz with generic team name. Oh, Eddie, I'm so sorry. I forgot your drop. Eddie. Also, Jimmer, I'm so sorry I haven't gotten yours. I am probably going to use something from The Office because Jim. All right. So, your team is honestly, I knew it was going to be solid. 5-3 is probably actually where I would have put you at this point in the season. You're 5-3. I didn't think your quarterbacks were great. I thought Aaron Rodgers was due for a terrible season. Not shocking that, when you have no pass catchers and you lose an elite pass catcher, it completely changes the entire landscape of your offense because, again, they didn't replace Davante Adams with Allen Lazard. Allen Lazard was already there. What they did is they replaced Davante Adams with, I don't know, Davante Adams with Romeo Doubs, or Sammy Watkins would probably be more accurate. They replaced Davante Adams with Sammy Watkins because Allen Lazard was already there. He was already kind of the number 2 guy. So they just, Allen Lazard stays as a number 2 type talent, and then they just kind of have to shove everyone up one slot, and Sammy Watkins and Romeo Doubs are actually filling, that Davante Adams hole because Allen Lazard gets shoved up, and then they get shoved up in the Lazard spot. Anyways, you see what I'm saying. Jalen Hurts has been fantastic. I was nervous when you took him as early as you did because I didn't know. It felt at the time that we did this draft like a huge risk. All the buzz about Jalen Hurts was very negative. We fully expected the Eagles to take a quarterback in the first of 2023 with all the draft capital that they had. However, the Eagles, the moment they made the A.J. Brown trade, I knew that Jalen Hurts was going to ball the F out. And yeah, dude, this has been amazing. He's getting it done through the air. He's getting it done on the ground. Great pick with Jalen Hurts. Way to go. Keep it up. His veterans and wide receivers have been solid. Adam Thielen's not been incredible, but he's been good enough. Rondale Moore, he stole from Ray in the draft. I really didn't think Rondale Moore was going to do much of anything. He had one huge game. We'll see if more's to come. More. Rondale Moore, get it? He's had guys like some of his other older guys, like Keenan Allen, been super disappointing. He's had some big disappointments out of Brandon Cooks, really disappointing. And again, Cooks was undervalued to begin with because he just wasn't a sexy name. And now that he's still not a sexy name and he's underperforming, you can look for people to... I don't think you could get a second-round pick for Brandon Cooks right now. That said, he has had 2 good weeks out of his first 5. He had a mediocre week last week. The Texans' offense is just not finding the end zone at the moment, with the exception of my boy, Dameon Pierce. Yeah, that's enough there. Kyron Williams, potentially going to be starting. I would be shocked, but... surprise, surprise, a guy who tore his ACL ended up not performing as a running back. An injury that's no one's ever come back from except from Devontae Foreman, and that's like 6 years removed from that injury. Like, not shocking that he has stunk so far. Hopefully you guys aren't picking up all these vibrations. My phone's getting blown up right now. Sorry if you have been. All right. Other people on Jimmer's team would be some other notables. Devontae Smith, a massive reach in the draft, has been playing well. You did not need to take him when you took him, but you did take him there. I wouldn't say it was worth it, but over the arc of his career, it could be. Chris Olave, massive hit in the draft. He's been doing very well, more than usual. Travis Kelce, picking up exactly where he left off last year. Well done. Tyreek Hill, I knew he'd be good. Didn't know he'd be this good. This is wild. I mean, he's had 4 out of his 8 games over 150 yards. Every other game, he goes off for over 150 yards. Over 160 yards. And he's killing everybody right now. And he only has 2 touchdowns, and they both came in the same game. He has 4 games over 25 points. And only one of those games has a touchdown. He has 1 single game under 10 points. Like, this dude is a stud and a big part of the reason why Jim is doing as well as he is. Next team on the list, we've got Juan Solo. Did Juan Solo shoot first? Yes, he did. Josh Allen, massive hit, league-winning type of point production here. Joe Mixon, not been good. He's off his rookie deal at the end of this year. I don't see them Bengals paying him a lot of money if they pay him at all. He might hit the free agent market. I would probably be looking to sell Joe Mixon if I'm able to, and sell him soon. I'd say you could get a first for him. You could get maybe a first plus, or again, just ride him into the playoffs until you get eliminated and then try and sell him then. Or cross your fingers and hope he ends up on a team like the Rams who need a running back. That would be pretty sweet. David Montgomery, Monty, man. Dude's getting his job stolen from him by like a fifth round pick, sixth round pick, like Khalil Herbert. He's not stealing a ton of snaps away, but he's certainly stealing touches. All right, so again, going down the roster here, and like, why is Juan having success? Just solid performance, guys. Again, in a league where, there's one team, mine, that's just intentionally tanking the crap out of their season. You're gonna get some wins that you may or may not deserve just by having solid players. Alvin Kamara finally turning it around. Mike Evans, hopefully Tampa Bay gets it going. I don't know what the hell's going on there. And just decent production at on his second string quarterbacks, and some good depth in his bench of guys like McKissick, Henderson, Jermichael Hasty. Heck, even Ben Skowronek's been very startable for the first 6 weeks of the season. His snaps have gone down, and I don't know. I would imagine they're going to go down further as Van Jefferson comes back from injury here. Isaiah McKenzie's been very solid. Amari Cooper's been a revelation. Nico Collins, on and on. He's just got a lot of like fairly decent, valuable players. Zeke injured, Albert O injured, and he's got some decent draft capital with 2 first-round picks. I would say this team is in a good position to do a soft rebuild. He's got good young receivers. If he wants to reset the clock and maybe he doesn't advance past Juan, if you don't advance past the first round, you could do a soft reset, sell off your running back talent, and just kind of Kamara, mix in Montgomery, re-roll them for like maybe a young player and a pick, or just picks. And with those picks, target other running backs that you just kind of replenish your running back stable with the picks or with the young guys that you target. Like maybe you can sell Kamara for some up and coming guy like what's Dalvin Cook's younger brother? So Cook. He just got cucked, I think, by a trade. Cook got cucked. Cuck. But yeah, anywho, Brett Fitzgerald, another 5-3 team. We've got 6-2, Iceman Tom, 6-2, Eddie Disler, 5-3 Jim, 5-3 Juan, 5-3 Brett, and there's another 5-3 team that we're going to get to. Brett is another guy that we have seen push all his picks in. Brett has not gotten so lucky. He went after Robert Woods, who's been sucking. Robert Woods will never come close to seeing 1,000 yards again. I think I'd be shocked if he gets 500 yards next season. He may or may not even get 500 yards this season. He's barely gotten over 250. If he misses any more time, forget about it. I think Robert Woods is cooked, is useless, is worthless in Dynasty. I wouldn't want to start him, and I wouldn't want him next year either. Curtis Samuel started out white hot, got a little bit cooler, but has certainly been usable in fantasy football. Devontae Adams, honestly disappointing. It's like fine for the first 7 weeks or so, but you were hoping for more. Honestly, I think with Devontae Adams, I think you were hoping for more. Kittle's been fine. A-Rob has been a disaster. Gus Edwards, Chase Edmonds, both disasters. Daniel Jones, I don't know how they're winning games in New York. Amazing job by Brian Dable. Mac Jones, Kenyon Drake, blah, blah, blah. Kenyon Drake has finally got a job where he might get some points. Good for you. CEH has been, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was incredible for the first 4 weeks. Should have sold him then. Has been sucking huge donkey penis ever since. Other guys on your bench, Marquise Brown injured, Van Jefferson injured. Donovan Peoples-Jones has actually been very usable. I haven't seen him in your lineup, but Peoples-Jones is on pace to come close to 1,000, or to come close to about 900 yards. I imagine once Deshaun Watson gets back at some point, it will be wheels up for Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think he's kind of got like a Will Fuller skill set of being a tall, physical, fast receiver. The other guys, some unfortunate injuries to your roster here. Juju's been great. Dobbins, I told you Dobbins was going to suck. I was concerned about Elijah Mitchell. Anytime you don't get team draft capital investment, like Mitchell was in like the 5th or 6th rounds, like it's easy for teams to move on. And he's just been so injury prone. That's enough there. This team shocked me to my core. I did not think he'd be here. I don't know how he's here. He is in the bottom half of the league in scoring, but he's 5-3. Ray with Scott's Tots. My wife's coming home right now. He's been doing great. I don't know how. His team, he's just got kind of been scrapping together wins. But, Hey, hon. Are you watching something on the phone?
Just a funny Instagram.
Oh. Okay. But, and then rounding out, Peter coming in 7th place, 4th to last, 7th, just outside the playoff window right now. Hey, can you turn that down for a sec, babe? Or put your headphones in? Yes, I am.
How far into it are you?
Pretty far. I'll be done in a few. Guys like Mostert, Pollard, Waddle, Cup, Claypool got traded. Interesting opportunity for him in Chicago, especially with it seems like they finally figured out, like, oh, maybe just Justin Fields isn't a pocket passer.
What's up?
What's up? She says, what's up? Justin Fields might not be a pocket passer. Might want to kind of get him rolling out. Jerry Jeudy's been okay. Russell Wilson's been a disaster. Matthew Stafford's been a disaster. I'm sorry for the crinkling sounds, everybody. We're going to wrap it up here pretty quick. We're just going to fly through these last two. Jay Chall, disaster of a season. Not only did he push his picks all in on very talented young players, he's gotten bit by the injury bug. Javonte Williams doesn't work out. Trey Lance on the IR. Guys like Cole Kmet, terrible. Irv Smith Jr. just lost his job. Rashad Bateman riddled with injuries. Kadarius Toney, utterly useless. Just got traded to Kansas City. We'll talk about that at another time. We'll have a trade breakdown at some point. I really thought Kareem Hunt was going to get moved. Didn't happen. Romeo Doubs has been honestly good, but also bad at the same time. Bad in the sense of you don't know when to start him. Good in the sense that you got him with like the last pick of the draft. Pittman's been a huge bust. Antonio Gibson's been a huge bust. So it's just really unfortunate to whiff on that many picks in the draft. Last team, speaking of whiffing, our poor guy, Rich in peace.
We all know Softball Guy. A lot of you are Softball Guy. Let me very quickly take you through Softball Guy.
Let's take you through Softball Guy. Miles Sanders has been decent, and I think that's pretty much it's been Miles Sanders, Nick Chubb, and he hasn't really had anyone else that he can rely on in the running back position. He had DeAndre Swift. Swift is always injured, gets rid of him for Najee. Najee is probably also playing through injuries right now because he's been wildly inefficient. Just absolutely brutal with 3.3 per carry. That's rough. It's very rough. And I would expect them to possibly bench Najee at some point because, I don't think they're playing for much right now. I think eventually Coach Tomlin's going to look at his season and say, Najee, you're clearly not right. Maybe you need to take some time and get right. And that would really hurt this very shallow running back stable of Rich. Some bright spots. Joe Burrow, been good. Zach Wilson has been putting up fantasy points even though he's a disaster on the NFL, like by NFL standards. Mayfield's been a disaster. Zach Moss, disaster. Quez Watkins, if you're starting Quez Watkins, that sucks, man. I don't know what to tell you. It really sucks. So, yeah, I think you got to sell DeAndre Hopkins ASAP. Looks like you are hitting a hard reset button. I think you could probably hold on to Chubb, Najee, and just wait for Ridley and Jameson Williams to come back next year. Deebo Samuel, but I don't know. It might be better to get he's only 30. He's probably got 2 or 3 years left. You could just hold pat and say, maybe I'll just be better next year with my injured guys coming back and my suspended guys coming back and my rookies developing another year. Or you could do something where you sell Hopkins for a wide receiver and a pick. Something like that, like a rookie wideout and a pick. Yeah. And then my team, I got lucky with a couple of the running backs here. Most of my rookies are working out pretty well. But, yep, that's all. We are going to wrap it up there, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.